This is White Plains Week, the weekly roundup of White Plains, Westchester, and world news. With John Bailey, editor and publisher of the daily internet newspaper White Plains Citizen Net Reporter, WPCNR.com. Jim Beneroff, editor and publisher of SuburbanStreet.com and WhitePlains.com. White Plains Week, what's happening, who are the newsmakers, what's in store for the future. The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participants. White Plains Week is presented on Optimum Cable Channel 76, Verizon Fios Channel 45, and on the internet at whiteplainsweek.com, youtube.com, and wpcommunitymedia.org. Now, White Plains Week.
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. and Ms. White Plains, Westchester, and the world. John Daly, the old Citizen Net reporter, here with you. And right now, here are the headlines. Coronavirus worries and apprehensiveness grow in Westchester and intensifies in the county. The city appoints a new city judge, Lynette Spalding. Hamilton Green site plan extension criticized by SEIU Service Employees Union. Reworked Good Counsel property site plan blasted by North Broadway advocate. City gets $546,000 a grant for emergency repairs to damaged homes and will hire a community liaison executive to increase communication with neighbors and city organizations. The city assessment roll debuted Monday and increased 0.5%. Assessment roll indicates houses in White Plains are selling well. The lower priced houses. Houses over $1 million are not. New York Assessors Association is considering new laws to mitigate impact of certiorari requests by commercial property owners. Census Day will take place April the 1st, and a guideline for filling out the census was presented by the White Plains city government during the council meeting held last Monday, which you can see. Now, let's go to the White Plains video newsreel for March the 6th. And, of course, that is the big thing these days. Governor Cuomo held a news conference Thursday saying that there were 22 cases of coronavirus cases statewide and 18 in Westchester. And the 10th case, and now 10 cases are confirmed in Westchester as late as Wednesday night. And that includes an attorney from New Rochelle, his wife, their 2 kids, and neighbor. According to the governor, the 8 new cases are also connected to the attorney's original infection. So they are being quarantined and treated in their homes. Cuomo did not say where in Westchester the new cases are from, but did say an employee at Lawrence Hospital in the Rocks, where the attorney was initially cared for, did test positive. 2 Iona College employees put themselves in a self-quarantine. The college sent out a statement saying a number of spring trips were canceled. 2 employees isolated themselves in their homes. There was no word if they have been tested or if any students are at risk, and Iona is still open. As of Thursday, both the Mount Vernon and Hastings-on-Hudson school districts, Yeshiva University, and the Westchester Torah Academy are closed through today, Friday, when you're seeing the show on Friday night. The SAR High School and Elementary School in the Bronx will be closed through March 11th. And so it goes. White Plains Hospital has also established a coronavirus hotline. The hotline number is 914-681-2900. It is available 24 hours a day. The hotline is updated by the hospital regularly with information about the virus. It also gives callers the option of connecting with a White Plains Hospital representative if they are concerned that they are exhibiting symptoms or might have been exposed to the virus. We and the city thanks the hospital for establishing this hotline for our community. Now, on Thursday evening, Mayor Tom Roach of White Plains issued this statement. He says, "We continue to work with state, county, and White Plains hospital officials, community organizations, and others to ensure an effective and coordinated response to the coronavirus outbreak." According to the Westchester County Department of Health, there are now up to 18 confirmed cases, the mayor reports. As has been widely reported, there are 3 confirmed cases associated with a private school in White Plains, Westchester Torah Academy. The 3 students who tested positive are children of the man who was a friend of and spent time with the original patient. Westchester Torah Academy has been closed until March 16, and the New York State Department of Health has required all students, faculty, and staff to isolate themselves at home through that date. The reopening of the school is conditional. The city staff, the mayor says, met with White Plains Hospital officials and representative from Empress Ambulance Services on Wednesday morning to discuss monitoring, preparation, and response efforts, everything from hospital staff education about the virus to patient transport protocols to information sharing to the availability of supplies is being worked out. The mayor encourages everyone to take the common sense approach to this virus outlined by the Westchester County Department of Health and other trusted sources. And the mayor says he will continue to keep residents updated as the developments occur. There's a very timely announcement by Mayor Roach, which wraps up the situation, at least as of Thursday evening, and thank you for that. And it's really a good approach. That's what we need. Communication is the key. Now, during the Common Council on Monday evening, it was highlighted the appointment of a new city judge. Let's watch this historic moment.
With that, is there a nomination for the position of City Court Judge?
Mr. Mayor, I nominate Attorney Lynette Spaulding. She has decades of experience with the Legal Aid Society. She's also been very active in our community. She served as a past president of the Black Bar Association here in Westchester. She was vetted by our screening committee, and therefore, based on such, I am proud to nominate Ms. Spaulding.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Is there a motion to close the nominations?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The nominations are closed. As there are no further nominations, on the nomination of Lynette Spaulding, can we have a motion to appoint Lynette Spaulding to the office of City Court Judge for a term of 10 years effective March 19, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mr. Brash?
Yes.
Mrs. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Kirkpatrick?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Presser?
Yes.
Mrs. Puja?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Congratulations, Your Honor. And thank you for being here tonight. And as I mentioned, the term will begin March 19th, 2020, and we look forward to and thank you for your service to our community.
How about that? And this brings the city court up to full strength after the death of Liz Schallenberger last year. And we congratulate the judge on her appointment. Persons that know her and have worked with her say she is an expert, has tremendous experience, and I gotta say, when you work as for the Legal Aid Society, she has for her entire career, you work hard. You have limited resources, and it's all on you to help people that need legal help. I can't think of a better experience myself. Now, at the same Common Council meeting, Eileen McCarthy and the library director presented a talk on the census, and here's some of it.
The important information to remember about this year is that April 1st is Census Day, which means that is the day in which the census is going to be capturing data. That's the day that we need to look at who is actually living in a household.
Okay, the census provides vital information, as the mayor was saying. It shows what populations are growing and decreasing, aging and shifting. And the data is used to plan for roads, schools, emergency services, and economic growth. There's a lot of funding at stake. $675 billion is distributed to states, counties, local communities, and that equates to about $2,400 of potential funding per person. So it helps us to count everyone.
And it also determines the representatives that each state gets in Congress, and it's used to redraw district boundaries.
What the census asks, it's not that many questions. You have the person number one who's filling out the application, and that's the person that fills out the most information, and I believe it's 9 questions. And then they have to answer for every other person living in the household. So it's the number of people living in or staying at your house or home on April 1st. The sex of each person, the race of each person, the age, and their relationship to you. And whether the person in your home is of Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origin, and whether you own or rent your home. And that's about it.
So here's the big news, and the mayor already referenced this. The census has gone digital, which means for the first time the census is promoting an online response to the census questionnaire, and that can be done on a computer. It can also be done on a smartphone as well. While this will make responding easier for many people, it's going to have its challenges, and it's something that we really need to watch in terms of how this will complicate response. Even people who own computers have a reticence about engaging in e-government and answering personal information online.
So this is what you should look for in your mail. This is what the census information will come in, and it will arrive starting March 12th, and you can start filling it out on March 12th.
And we have a few excerpts from that presentation to make things a little bit more clear. It's an excellent presentation. Everybody should look at it in its entirety. It can be seen on the Common Council telecast over on Channel 75 and also on the city website by going to Common Council on the city website. Now, first slide is the situation is you do not have to worry. The census does not ask about citizenship status. The census will never ask for your social security number or bank account numbers. Here is the time, and here's the all-important Respond Online number. It is showed inside the envelope with that red arrow pointing to it, and that's the ID you need to register online your census responses. And the census timeline, it shows you what you can expect. March 12th to 20, you will get the invitation to respond and the census ID number. March 16th to 24, a reminder letter. The 26th to April 3rd, another postcard. April 8th to 16th, a reminder letter and a paper census form if you haven't filled it out. And April 20th to 27th, a representative will perhaps check in with you via postcard. Now, confidentiality. By law, your census responses cannot be used against you by any government agency or court in any way, not by the FBI, CIA, DHS, and not by ICE. Under Title 13, the Census Bureau cannot release any identifiable information about individuals, households, or businesses, even to law enforcement agencies. Now, dues. you do check that the census envelope has a return address of Jeffersonville, Indiana. Make sure the website is census.gov and is encrypted. Look for http:// or lock symbol in the browser bar at the top of the screen. Verify that a census taker who comes to your home has a Census Bureau photo ID badge with a Department of Commerce watermark and an expiration date, and a copy of the letter that was sent to you by the census. Don'ts. These are very important. Don't give your social security number, mother's maiden name, or bank or credit card numbers to anyone claiming to be from the Census Bureau. Real census workers will not ask for this information. Don't open mail from the census. They do not send email. So don't open email from the census. Excuse me for that. Don't open email from the census. They do not send email. Don't reply. Check links or open all. Don't reply. Click links or open attachments. Don't trust caller ID. Scammers can make it appear like a real Census Bureau number. Call the processing center at 1-800-523-3205 to verify that the phone survey is legitimate. And it's very important to be aware of scams. We are in a scam era. And the Department of Consumer Affairs is very concerned about this, and people just have to, if you're unfamiliar with what I just went over, go on to the Common Council meeting and check out the full presentation. Now, another presentation that was made on Monday night was the announcement of a $546,565 grant. And Karen Pasquale and the Commissioner of Building, Damon Amadio, made the presentation. And what has happened is that the White Plains has qualified for a grant and been awarded this $546,000 grant, and they are going to put it together to aid homeowners that have been damaged in events or any sort of emergency. The idea of this is to immediately have the city repair their homes so they do not have to be moved out and find other housing. It seems to be a very good idea. They are also going to use $125,000 approximately of that to hire a new liaison specialist who will increase city outreach to neighborhood associations, perhaps groups concerned with developments, and to basically improve city communication, which I think is a step in the right direction. The city generally goes to neighborhood associations to explain developments or persuade them that the development will be good for them, but this will hopefully keep the neighborhoods more informed and not as parochial in their own special interests, which always seems to be the case. And now, another intriguing event is that the assessment roll came out on Monday. And good news, it did not go down. The new assessment roll bottom line is underneath the big long blue arrow, $284.5 million is what our homes and businesses are assessed at. And that is slightly more than the figure for last year, which is about $283 million, underneath the downward arrow on the right. Now, what is fascinating about this is that it has gone up about 6% in 4 to 5 years, and but it has not really progressed much and is still well below the value of many years ago, back in 2007, 2008. And the question, I was talking with the assessor about this, and he said Lloyd Tesh, that the price of White Plains homes in the $500,000 to $700,000 range are selling reasonably well. What is holding the assessments down from not growing more is that the $1 million homes are not. And this has been the case for a couple of years now. And despite the rosy portraits that realtors in their many press releases say about now is the time to buy and you should put your homes on the market now, you have a wait to sell your house. And this is an important thing to remember. Now, what does the assessment roll do for the school district? Well, number one, it's essentially the same as last year. It's up about $500,000, and this is helpful. It means that the school district needs to think seriously about where they're going to find the money to roll the budget over into the next year without cutting it, because they have not cut the budget. They don't plan to cut the budget. It was pegged at approximately $330 million, and last year's was 270 million, about. And the problem is when you roll it over every year, you have to keep generating the extra money that you're building into the budget. And we will get the story on the budget. I'm just guesstimating here. We will get the story on the proposed budget on Tuesday, the 10th of this month. And it will be over, I believe, at the high schools where they usually present that, but check that out. I'm not quite sure about that, but look at the school website and find out when that meeting is. And at that, we should get a good feeling for how much the tax rate is going to go up. And it will go up. Last year it was 3.44%, the largest since Dr. Ricca took over the district. And we will see how that sets up. We will be interviewing both Dr. Ricca and his financial mastermind and Ernst Heisch, and as we always do, and they will make it all clear what to expect on the budget. We will probably be doing that, I believe, in about early May, I believe, before the budget is put to a vote. So this is something to look for. If we can't increase our assessments in a steadier manner, but the school district has to continue a policy of keeping the school district moving forward, and they do like to do that, and add personnel as indicated. To do that, the White Plains has so far been more than willing to go along with whatever they say. However, one has to ask ourselves, is it prudent to continue increasing the budget? And one of the factors is that something has to give in the state budget this year. Last year, an election year, everybody increased school aid. They lobbied for it, and we got the largest school aid increase we've gotten in years. And it is probably not going to happen this year. So the school aid will most likely stay step, but we do not know that. The process has not been as publicly gone through as it was last year. Usually there are some public meetings and they do that, but I don't recall there being as many this year. But be that as it may, the school budget is the budget to pay attention to, because that is the budget that really affects you the most. And the city, though, on the other hand, because of their frugality, and I use that word quote unquote lightly, but they have managed the budget in the city well. And to my way of thinking, that is why White Plains is the most stable community financially in the county. It's why your city taxes go up pennies a year, but the school taxes do not go up pennies a year. It's usually about a $15 to $20 increase in the tax rate, and that's because White Plains chooses to continue keeping up the high quality of their education. On the other hand, considering the long-range projections of the school district that we showed you a few months ago, and after we see the presentation on Tuesday evening, we'll take a look and show those to you again as opposed to the budget. Now maybe they have found a way to trim off the $330 million that they are thinking about doing, and it will be a pleasant surprise if they do that. But bear in mind, as I say, when you choose to roll over the budget, that is what happens. You have to. It will usually go up about $5 to $6 million a year at the present compounding level. One other good news about the assessments: the New York State Organization of Assessors is considering 2 laws that they would like to lobby the legislature to pass to mitigate the impact of certiorari claims on city budgets and city taxes across the state. The first law would be to require that if you're going to apply for certiorari, you have to do it every 2 years and not every 4 years. This really helps because it limits the amount the certiorari or the tax refunds due. The applicant for a certiorari will impact the city budgets. And the other law is to force the the organizations, businesses, homeowners applying for a certiorari to put together their case for a certiorari about 2 months before the certiorari deadline, which is very helpful for any cities trying to fight those certs. Those are great pieces of legislation. It remains to be seen whether Albany will listen to that. But the assessors know what the problem is. It's about time the legislators discovered it. John Bailey, good night for White Plains Week.
This has been White Plains Week, news and commentary about White Plains, Westchester, and the world. The views and opinions expressed on this program were solely those of the participants. White Plains Week, produced by White Plains Citizen Net Reporter and presented on Optimum Cable Channel 76 and Verizon Fios Channel 45. You may view White Plains Week anytime on the internet at whiteplainsweek.com, youtube.com, and wpcommunitymedia.org. For White Plains Week, this is Peter Katz speaking.